Good morning, everyone. How are you? Just quickly want to talk about Grand Theft Auto 6. A lot of developments happening recently. We've had Cyberleak, who is maybe a one person or a group of persons working together to basically release, um, release footage of GTA 6. So it's interesting because I think their demands, to be fair, are quite relevant. They want Rockstar to release a physical version of the game, which that's what a lot of people want. I don't see, I don't see how for the biggest game release, arguably of the last 10 years, and most definitely this year, it's the largest game release, the most anticipated game for 2026. To not have a physical copy is it's madness to me. It's really, really short sighted. It also feeds into Sony's ridiculous argument that we're going to make no more physical copies of games from 2028, which itself is such a poor decision from Sony. It's so it's just so anti-consumer. It's not funny. Really is anti-consumer, and it's extremely dangerous. It's a dangerous precedent for a games console to do this to their users. And I think the most worrying thing about all this as well, I've been onto the official Rockstar page this morning, which is why I made this quick video. And there are people who comment on the Rockstar post saying how they're going to release some more footage, official footage tomorrow, and they're very disappointed with all the leaks happening and all that kind of jazz. And okay, fair enough, you make that statement because they're losing money hand over fist in the stock market. But going back to what I was saying, I'm mind boggled, mind blown how some people are either they're trolling, which again, whatever, like you're a loser, or they're legitimately believing that Rockstar have every right what they to kind of just say, oh no more physical media because physical media it's outdated. We've moved beyond physical media. I mean, some of these people far out. Like, you need to probably get your head checked, or perhaps just stop using meth because you're cooked. To argue that physical media is obsolete is one of the most ludicrous arguments I've ever heard in my life. I could go in depth for this for hours about how having a physical copy of whatever you purchase, whether it be a game, whether it be a movie, even music to a degree, it's insane how some people just think that this is totally okay. I'm not going to go into it too much because I'll just be here ranting, like I said, and I'll get more and more irate. But yeah, I think that's the concern, that there are some people who think that this is totally fine. And this is what Rockstar and Sony, I'm going to pick on you two morons, they're banking on this. They're banking on people being zealots and just doing what they're told. And that's not the way it should be. Now, interestingly as well, Microsoft have also announced some kind of, I can't really get my head around it just yet. I think they're reacting now to this whole backlash, and they're now considering making discs for their games still, but it'll be to do with licensing agreements. I think I read that, where you buy the disc, you put the disc in your console, the digital license gets recognized against your console, and then when you want to sell it or you trade it in, then it's got one license kind of left over to use for someone else. So I think that's what I was reading. Look, it sounds to me like it's a bit of a quick backtrack for Microsoft. They've seen how much people are getting very irate with Sony, and so then maybe this is a bit of a band-aid solution. I don't know if it's going to be a true fix for the situation, but we'll see. But more importantly, I reckon this could be a golden chance for Nintendo to actually claw back some significant market share. And hear me out for a second. About 30 odd years ago, there was no PlayStation. Probably a little bit more, obviously. I'm talking like in the 90s now, okay? I'm showing my age. I'm 42. So back when I was a kid, growing up, in the 90s, you had Sega, you had Nintendo, you had a couple of other fringe players in the game. You had the Panasonic, had their 3DO. You had Atari Jaguar, which was the last Atari console that ever was released. That was a disaster. So 3DO was also pretty poor as well. But going back to what I was saying, Sega CD was an add-on for the Sega Mega Drive or the Genesis, along with the 32X. So they're just slapdash add-ons to the Mega Drive to try to extend the life of the Mega Drive. Because the Mega Drive had been out since '89, and the Super Nintendo was after that. So there was a bit of a competition there, in case you didn't realize. So Nintendo decided to hire Sony to work in collaboration with them to develop a disc-based system, CDs I'm talking about, for their Super Famicom, which was their version of the Super Nintendo. Now, that deal didn't go through in the end. They didn't release anything in the end officially because Nintendo got cold feet. They got very concerned about piracy with CDs, because back in the good old days, you could buy a CD burner from your local Office Works in Australia or your office supply store or anywhere really. I mean, and you could buy discs, blank discs, and you get a program like Nero, and off you go. Just start ripping games. And so Nintendo got a bit concerned about that. But the important thing is, and I'm getting back to my point now, the PlayStation was actually born out of Nintendo backing out of their deal to make this with Sony. And so Sony took all the information they learned from working with Nintendo, and they basically made the PlayStation. So you come back to 2026 and going forward to 2027 and 2028, I think this would be a great opportunity for Nintendo to actually get one back over Sony. Because let's be fair, the PlayStation, whether you like it or not, has been the dominant force in home video gaming for a long time now. I mean, it hands down, it's won the console war, hands down. I mean, you look at the sales figures between the PlayStation and the Xbox, and it's like, I think it's 5-1. I think it's for every, so what I mean is for every one Xbox, there's 5 PlayStations sold. Now, you could argue, but the Nintendo Wii has sold more units. That's irrelevant. And I'll tell you why it's irrelevant, because when you have parents buying the consoles for their kids just to play predominantly children's games, yes, that is a thing, but unfortunately for Nintendo, this is where they've shot themselves in the foot by making titles that are overtly kid-friendly and shying away from titles like Grand Theft Auto and a few others. You've really put yourself in a bit of a corner for sales. I know Nintendo love having the reputation of being a kid-friendly, family-friendly environment, but they should really consider, in my opinion, making another console to rival the Xbox and the PlayStation. And I'm serious now. I'm not mucking around. I'm not saying they should just make another console just for the hell of it. No, they should make an actual proper disc-based console. You have to put the cartridges away for a minute, Nintendo. Forget the cartridges. I love the Switch. I've got a Switch 1. Great machine, but you need to open up your doors more for developers, and they don't like the cartridges. We know this. I mean, look how long it's taken Skyrim to come out on Switch. I mean, that says it right there. So I think Nintendo really needs to now take a real hold of this opportunity to really shaft PlayStation, shaft Sony, make a console that could rival, if not surpass, the other two, and make it adult orientated. Bring out titles like, if they do make GTA 6, for example, in a disc, but bring out similar titles. Invite developers in, work with them. So I don't know. I would love to see that personally. Or in an ideal world, which is not going to happen, I'd love to see Sega come back, because Sega never gave a shit. Sega were great. I've always been a Sega guy. I have loved my Mega Drive. I have got Saturn. I've got a Dreamcast. They were good consoles. They actually were bloody good machines. They just were a little bit. They were a little bit either behind the 8 ball, or they were a little bit ahead of the curve in the Dreamcast kind of perspective. A little bit too radical, a bit too expensive. But I'd love to. I'd really want to see a game company, even if it's Microsoft in the end. I don't give a shit. I just want to see someone come out and say this to someone like Sony. Yeah, well done, guys. You've just opened up a Pandora's box now. We're going to come in, we're going to take away all those customers that you've completely and utterly pissed off. Unless Sony decide to do a backflip, which I don't know if they will actually. I'm not really sure they're going to do that because Sony are a funny company, especially being Japanese. We know that I love Japanese culture, but what I'm trying to get at here is that the Japanese are very proud people, and it takes a lot for them to actually acknowledge that we've made a mistake. So I don't know if Sony are going to actually be able to walk this back. They should. They should walk it back. They won't. I don't think they will. But they should. They should if they want to try and save face, save their market share, win back gamers. Because just very quickly, I think it was for the PS4. I remember the launch for that console at the big gaming convention thing. Can't remember what it's called now. The then CEO of like Sony America or whatever he was like literally on stage ripping the shit out of Microsoft, saying we're going to have physical discs, we're not going to have cloud gaming, or you have to have a permanent internet connection. And now you fast forward to the PS6, it's completely opposite of what they were saying they're going to do with the previous console or two. How times change. But yeah, like I was saying, I'd love to see Nintendo, just for pure karma, come back and really shaft Sony on this one. I don't think they will. Nintendo, unfortunately, live life too safely, which is a bit of a shame, because Nintendo, when they put their mind to it, they can do some amazing things. I mean, I'm going to be the first to acknowledge here, I still absolutely love my GameCube. I thought my GameCube was one of the best consoles I've ever had. I've still got it in a box somewhere. I refuse to get rid of my consoles. And this is very quickly, last thing. This is exactly my point about saying why physical media is so freaking important. I've still got all of my games consoles, whether it be cartridges and more importantly discs. I've still got them all. And even if the console gets broken down or something, I can get that repaired. I can play my freaking game. That's the point. That's what these idiots don't understand. If I buy a game from the game store, whatever the PlayStation store or whatever the hell Microsoft's called, or the Nintendo shop, and for whatever reason the license gets pulled for that game, I've paid good money for that game and now I can't play the game. That's not really how it should be. You bought the effing thing, it should be yours, and that's why I never got rid of my any of my games. I have traded in consoles. I traded in my Xbox 360 back in the day for a PlayStation 3, because I tried the Xbox. I was big on Xbox for a while, but I think I ended up having 3 red rings of death on my consoles, and I said, no, I can't do this anymore. I've had enough. I'm going to PS3, and I did, and that's the only time I've ever gotten rid of a console and the titles. I traded in everything to get money off a PlayStation 3, because PS3s were pretty expensive back in the day. But that's my argument. Like, that's just one of the arguments about why it's important to have physical copies of your things. I get they take up space. I'm not going to deny that. They take up room in your cupboard or whatever. But this whole digital stuff is a bit stupid, you know? And the list goes on. Like, it's not just about gaming. Movies is a massive thing too. Huge. I've seen stuff online and legit. A guy bought a copy of Lord of the Rings, the extended versions, on the Google Play Store several years ago. He went to his library and suddenly all 3 movies are gone. And he contacted Google and he said, hey, where's my stuff? So Google said, oh, look, sorry, we lost the license for those now, so we took them away. Sorry about that. Thanks for your purchase though. And he said, okay, can I get a refund for this? Like, what do you mean it's gone? And typical, Google or anyone, they said, oh, sorry, this is now beyond our refund period. It's been over 2 years. So no, you can't get anything back. So yeah, so fuck you. So the lesson is, buy the goddamn thing as a physical version. Just fucking buy it. I've got a shit ton of DVDs, Blu-rays that I still keep. I've mentioned before, all of my bloody consoles. I keep all the discs for these kind of situations. Is exactly my point. But anyway, See you later, guys.